Good afternoon, David.
Jack,
Good to see you.
how was it outside?
Today, brisk and chilly as a November 1st should be.
This is what they call autumn.
Yes, it is.
Autumn leaves.
Yes.
That's a great song, by the way.
It
Autumn leaves.
Yes, it is.
I tell you that,
They drift by my window.
yes, go on. Can you remember more?
Not at the moment. I bet you I normally can.
It's wonderful, wonderful. I like it so much that I was hearing it, I don't know how, on, the iPhone or whatever, with the great Nat King Cole.
Yes.
Didn't he do it?
I'm sure
Yeah,
he has.
he did.
Yes.
He's, I think, very famous. And so I said, this is really great. I said, I wonder if Edith Piaf ever did this. It would be a type of French song.
Mm-hmm.
And indeed, on the internet, I found it in translation in French, and she sang it.
Hmm.
Fantastic. And then I said, well, let's see if Yves Montand did it.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it.
Hmm.
It was a real thing in comparative performance. Then I went back to America and I said, what's one of my favorite singers? Billy Eckstein. Do you remember that name?
I do.
From the 40s or
Mhm,
something?
mhm.
Very cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it fabulously.
Hmm.
Then Frank Sinatra did it and he did it well.
Mm-hmm.
Not as quite up to his usual.
Mm-hmm.
But I have certain prejudices against him. I don't know why. I guess maybe he was just everyone's everyone, And I thought there were so many great singers at that time, pop singers.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to our popular culture?
I don't know. Again, I keep coming back to Evenings with Horowitz. There's a scene, I think it might be a New Year's Eve scene in your book, where you are lamenting the decline of the popular song and popular culture. And then Horowitz leaps up and says that he recalls a time when there used to be an abundance of creditable popular music. And then I think he goes to the piano, and of course he recalls songs that even antedate the time that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
He liked to improvise on some popular songs.
Yes.
And he liked to do Tea for Two.
That's a wonderful song.
Yeah. I want to introduce ourselves. My name is David Duval. I have a program on the piano heard on WQXR on Sunday night at 10 o'clock, I believe, and one on WWFM heard at noon on Sunday, as well as on Wednesday afternoons. And I'm always amazed. I'm thinking that, radio's over with, but I'm always amazed that people tell me they just heard something on the radio.
Yes.
Yeah. It's as if I've given up on it, even though I still do it. And yet, technology, it seems so far away from radio now that I don't seem to be able to understand that I still do it.
It's interesting because, as I often repeat, the book that brought me to you originally, Reflections from the Keyboard, had its birth from your radio interviews. And I left our conversation last week when we first, after many of these conversations, had our first touch on Chopin for the first time.
Oh, we never talked about him before?
Not really to any length. And I had cause to think about him this week in many ways in reference to popular culture and his role, how he surfaces in films. But before anything else, I left last week thinking about a passage because we had also referenced Alfred Brendel, the late Alfred Brendel. Mm-hmm. And in the interview, you ask him, or you note to him, that notwithstanding his wide repertory, you notice the absence of Chopin. And his reply was that if he were to take up Chopin, he would have to be a specialist. Do you remember that reply?
Yes, I do, of course.
And what do you make of that reply?
I didn't think about it until you brought that up, and that's many years ago. And of course, I don't believe that Brendel was temperamentally suited to Chopin. My friend Stanley Waldorf said that Brendel when he heard recently on the radio, he asked me if I had ever heard it. Symphonic Etudes of Schumann that he said was absolutely glorious.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, really? Are you sure it was really glorious? And he said, oh yeah, because I respect very much what he says about
Mm-hmm.
performance. And he knows the repertoire and the literature. So, I remembered, I went back into my mind, as I often do. It's a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sit down, alone,
Mm-hmm.
and just think about Brendel and Symphonic Etudes of Schumann, Opus 13. A piece that I love, but I would never play, except for certain variations, the posthumous variations that Brahms later published, that he didn't want to use because he thought Clara thought it was too long
Mm-hmm.
for the public then. How wrong she was. Everyone now plays them and includes them.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Brendel's performance, I go back, I sit and say, Brendel, do I know? And I go back and I remember I heard it, and yes, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go further. It's amazing how the mind can go further than it knows
Mm-hmm.
if it decides to.
Into its memory, you
Into
mean?
its memory,
Mhm.
way back. And all of a sudden, I remember that through Brendel's, what do you call it, PR,
Mm-hmm.
she had called me and said, Brendel wanted to know if I had a recording that he could hear of his own performance of the Symphonic Etudes of Schumann, the Etudes Symphonique. And I said, yes, I do. I have it. I think it's a Vanguard recording. I
Mhm.
didn't know he recorded for.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took it out of the record shelf. It was still at LP time.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave it to her to, have him tape it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So here it is, comes a question so many, many years later saying how good it was from a friend of mine who I admires his taste.
Mm-hmm.
And there it goes. I mean, I actually had something to do with that very performance that
Mm.
he heard on a
Mhm.
radio. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a crazy world, isn't it?
It is. Now, I can't help asking, you said it's a piece that you admire and will listen to,
Mm.
but it's one that you wouldn't take up at the keyboard.
Yeah.
What makes you resist it?
I find it very awkward for the hand, not
the
fun
hand.
to practice.
Okay.
All Schumann is difficult for the normal hand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've found that as a pianist.
I've studied a fair amount of it, but never brought it to a recital level.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
I did play Carnival in Severance Hall in Cleveland
Okay.
in a recital, and Carnival is the one piece
Mm-hmm.
major piece of Schumann that I would play anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so much a part of human fantasy. Everything
Mhm.
is absolutely perfect, and talked about Rachmaninoff's performance often.
Mm-hmm.
Played it for my Juilliard kids always, and also said that this is the fastest possible way anyone could ever play the Paganini section.
Mm.
No one should try to go beyond it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I see that occasionally I find a young person playing it faster than
Faster.
even Rachmaninoff,
Yeah.
and I say, well, it's not very good really, and it sounds like a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is the way artificial intelligence will play Schumann. I don't know.
It's possible, or perhaps maybe students hearing artificial intelligence generated performances may start to imitate them.
They are going crazy. The young people are going nuts. All they care about is that speed, that high speed locomotion, and that loudness. No variance of nuance within. As our boy Liszt said, nuance is is the pianist's palate.
Yes. Well, speaking of nuances and Chopin, in terms of cultural use, I think I mentioned to you earlier today in our conversation before the present that I had rewatched more than once the extraordinary 1945 Picture of Dorian Gray. What a film.
What a film.
And what a use of source music, particularly Chopin. and particularly how the Chopin that is invoked in the film is polarized against the one bit of source music that comes from popular culture within the source of the movie. And I believe the name of the song is Goodbye Little Yellow Bird. And it's,
Oh, yes.
and it may have antedated the movie, or if it was composed for the movie, it doesn't matter.
Probably was a music hall ditty of the 1890s or something.
I think
you know.
so, because it certainly rings true as a English music hall type of song.
Yes.
And Angela Lansbury presents it, as so does the production, in the most humble kind of music hall
Yes.
setting.
Yes.
And what I think is done so incredibly in that movie, and that led to what I wanted to talk about now, is that the Chopin is introduced at the beginning, and particularly as we remarked earlier, even the book of Wilde has several remarks about the idea of aesthetics in terms of form, like we were talking about last week being the highest order of art, that aesthetic ecstasy comes out of principally the meditation on form more than perhaps the substance or the object that is being represented. And they choose the 24th prelude for the principal character to use as his modus operandi for the seduction of the innocent girl who sings Goodbye Little Yellow Bird. And so what's so fascinating is that something of such high aesthetic order as this abstract Chopin prelude, which we imagine that even someone like Oscar Wilde would concede, has to be meditated principally for its aesthetic ecstasy coming from the notion of form meditated, that there's no depicted object, no autobiographical substance that we can really feel that the music portrays. However, the character uses it in an abusive way, such that he is, we imagine, to be a very accomplished aesthete. He even wishes that his own life, his own aesthetic beauty will be the one thing that is preserved, of course, in the myth of the novel and the film, by the painting that will immortalize
Him forever.
And allow him to be immortal in person, while it will absorb the aging that he will no longer have to suffer. Now, he takes this Chopin piece, however, and abuses what we imagine his character would have as a high understanding of the aesthetic ecstasy, and uses it in a narrative way to seduce a woman.
Yes.
And what I find so fascinating about the source music in this film is that the values trade places. This simple music hall song starts to be invoked when the questioning of his values becomes very clear. That though he is an accomplished aesthete, and the George Sanders character has line after line standing as proxy probably for Wilde himself, of this wonderful elite way to look at things in the narrative aspects of life in an abstract way, they still, notwithstanding all that, crumble in their decadence. And what happens is the source music of this simple song trades places, in my opinion, for the role that should be fulfilled by the higher arts power to embody the aesthetic ecstatic. They trade places. The Chopin becomes corrupted, and the little simple English music hall song becomes elevated, until eventually that is proven and it has to reset, and then Beethoven is reintroduced in the film to be...
I don't remember that part. I must see it again just for that. You know, your whole point of view is so, I think, really on and so interesting, and I think that all of our listeners should, if they haven't seen Herb Hatfield, I think his name was Dorian Gray, and the immortal Sanders, what's his first name?
Oh yeah, George Sanders.
George Sanders.
Maybe at his best in this film.
Oh, God.
Not only in the substance of the sentences, but
yes,
his elocution is absolutely singular.
The wonderful character he plays in Dorian Gray in the movie, he's just transcendental in it. He's just
spectacular.
Right, yeah, well, because he was a highly cultured man, understood so many things.
I would say yes. One feels that there's no way that one could render these lines without having been
he's very cultured, very
cultured man himself.
You know, and Oscar Wilde wrote some very trenchant little things about Chopin. You know, such as he must weep. He doesn't understand why, and on and on. It's very, very interesting. However, this movie is something I think that everyone should see because, oh, and I love the way Angela Lansbury goes while Hatfield's playing it, right?
There's a number of times that he uses it to play upon what we imagine is her lower middle class prudish conscience.
Exactly.
And that's what I mean by the abuse of the aesthetic.
Oh, how subtle. Yes, indeed,
That-
Jack.
That there is nothing embodied in Chopin that should argue that someone of that lower class morality can't exalt in that aesthetic, but he abuses it by intimating that it reproaches her morality. And that's where I think the movie becomes really subtle.
Wow.
And so then he, as an aesthete, abuses his own faith because he intimates it has narrative elements, which would be to mock someone who has a rigid or what he thinks is antiquated Puritan sensibility.
Yeah. He does get a little bit of the purity of Chopin's thinking, though,
Yes.
which is also of Oscar Wilde in relation to art. For Chopin was never programmatic. I mean, he just couldn't stand any idea that. And so in the movie, she asks, Angela Lansbury asks Dorian, prelude to what? Remember that?
Well, he does. She does ask what it's called.
What is this called?
And the idea of it simply being called a prelude is not only answered by him, but a later character as well. And they may be emphasizing the fact that it is an abstract aesthetic thing that these characters do not understand, at least the abusers of it, meaning the George Sanders character or particularly the character of Dorian Gray. So I was going to then ask, why do we think the producers of the film or the music director would have chosen the 24th prelude? Is there something that seemed to resound with you why that particular prelude works so well in this film?
It's certainly among the most dramatic of the 5 or 6 that could be called very, very dramatic. It has a shade of melodrama and a little bit of irony in the main theme, in its triadic simplicity, and yet underneath is a 5-figure, unbelievably turbulent left hand, which will go on and on. And so I don't know how they chose it, because of course they did not do the whole 3-minute piece. While the preludes themselves have pieces as small as 30 seconds or 40 or 50. So something about this fiery, maybe the last 3 notes had stimulated the music director. They were like, it's doom, it's doom.
Yes.
And of course, the painting is doomed. There is no, he's doomed, I mean. He will never be that exquisite young man again. And when he sees it and so forth. I don't remember exactly the story. I've read the novel twice. I adore Oscar Wilde. He was much more than they say. He is far more than that trial, of which he really messed himself up there. And should well have known not to say what he said. And it's very interesting that this man is haunted by his lover, Lord Alfred Douglas's father, who's the Marquis of Queensberry, the inventor of prize fighting's rules.
Interesting. Okay.
So this is a man that's so macho that he cannot bear the fact that his son, Lord Alfred Douglas, is with Oscar Wilde all the time. And he's going to, make him pay for it. Well, Oscar's not going to pay for it. Oscar misjudged his public and himself, and he tells everyone, when he said, should have said, I shut up here because I can't go to prison. And he goes to prison, and it's dreadful for him. Dreadful. Comes out, he dies in a year or so in Paris. So much. I mean, there's a masterpiece in him that's in French. I wish I could read it in French. Salome is in French. This man, forget these minor plays, even Ernest.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of being earnest, very, very good. Oh, I can understand
Mm-hmm.
the 1890s and 1880s, going crazy in London for him. Nothing compared to the whole aspect of almost every little ditto he said has truths in it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be influenced by all influences are immoral.
Yes.
These are the man thinks on such a level of depths.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great philosopher, a short story writer. I read a short story very recently. It's just so charming, incredible.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So Oscar Wilde dies at nothing like 45 even. I mean, he was born, I think, in 1854 or 6. Schumann, who we were just speaking about,
Yes.
died in 1856 in an insane asylum. And yeah, Schumann can drive you a little crazy at times. Andre Watts once said to me, when I asked him the same question about, I said to Brendel, why don't you play more Chopin? Oh, I need to be a specialist. A very good answer.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Very good answer, because all Chopin recitals filled the concert halls of the world, while Schumann would not.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so I said to Andre Watts, why don't you play more Schumann? Oh, I can't stand those dotted rhythms. They drive me out of my mind. He didn't want insane. He didn't even want to touch insanity, you see?
That's right. Yeah. Now that I think about it, because I listened to Watts a lot in one time in my life. You're right. I don't associate him with Schumann at all.
Interesting. Well, a neurotic on the level of Horowitz, he can't, and a Rao.
Yes.
Oh, they cannot wait to get their mitts into him.
Huh. Now, when I think about Chopin and Hollywood again, we've spoken already about the movie of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with Spencer Tracy. Now, I watched it again last night, in part in honor of All Hallows Eve, but also because I love the movie so much.
And I know you're a Lana Turner fan.
And I'm a Lana Turner fan, yes. And Lana Turner, when the film is near its end, is seen playing one of the waltzes.
And through that wonderful window, right?
Through a window.
Beautiful, like
Yes. In the
hazy and...
Again, at the point where a principal character realizes to a degree he's abused, in this case, science and the sciences, and its pretensions to be all-knowing or that it has the answers. So, again, Chopin is used as if one of the characters is at least confessing that her world, in which she is surrounded and had so many hopes through her betrothal to the character of Dr. Jekyll, that something has been betrayed by the aesthete. And it seems to me they choose Chopin as source music as if it's the most bejeweled thing, if it's treated in its non-narrative way, as you have said, that art must be ultimately the aesthetic ecstasy. But if it's in any way used as an object of snobbery or the representation of the overly confident elite, that's where I think it's used as a kind of coded confession in old Hollywood. One of the characters will go to it to, in some way, in a confessional way, suggest that it's been abused. Because it's right when he goes to tell her they can't be together because he can't seem to stop his transformation into Mr. Hyde, that he listens through the window that you mentioned, this glassy window, and there's this idealized version of Lana Turner and all her blonde glory there behind the glass, that it has to end, and he can't smash that window.
And he ends it with the strains of the waltz that has become titled the Farewell Waltz of Chopin. It's the A-flat waltz. It's the last time he will ever see his own betrothed Countess Chopin in Dresden or Leipzig. And here it's being used. Remember, Hollywood had a storehouse of tremendous immigrants coming from Hungary, all through Vienna, through German, through England, and they were all there, and they were all talking. It wasn't just, major geniuses like Aldous Huxley.
Mm-hmm.
It was all the way down the line. And so even if it wasn't conscious, it was unconscious. All of these things
Mm-hmm.
that you bring up,
Mm-hmm.
such as in the Dorian Gray or such as in the Jekyll and Hyde, these people, unlike most people today, they would have no idea that it was written by, Robert Louis Stevenson,
Mm-hmm.
or Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, or almost everything,
Mm-hmm.
almost all information that should be a part of your mental equipment, your memory equipment, is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we have this, they call it information highway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting that it's called highway, isn't it? Because a highway, you never see anything on it.
That's right.
You just go. That's not traveling.
And the rest stops just have the same generic look each one you go to.
Oh, please. The whole world looks alike.
It
I
does.
mean, you get off of the plane in Zurich and you have the TD Bank or something with and you got those green. Now you see it in the World Series yesterday. They all have TD on their,
yes.
They were all given money to
Yes.
to do that. Everywhere you go, I mean, it's the same stores. There's no sense in going anywhere.
I
Why would
understand.
you want to go? If you want to go to Spain, listen to the Falla masterpieces that are so Spanish, and especially that gorgeous work for piano and orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of that? Oh, Nights in the Gardens of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Spain several times, and the only thing that I liked about it was nothing. Because it's all America. All of the terrible architecture, all those horrible buildings that we have in every place in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Mencken said, I've seen all the world's most unlovely towns,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all in America.
Mencken is
But
always
they're
one
now
that-
everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere. Thank goodness there's a few difficult to walk in, beautiful, wonderful towns still in Italy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Byron called Italy the garden of the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These are people that still, at least in our lives, and we're trying very hard to bring their names up at all
Mhm,
times.
mhm.
These are indispensable people for us to know who they are, when they were born, what they did. That Byron died in Missolonghi, and literally in the mud as he's trying to save Greece
Mhm.
with his money
Mm-hmm.
and his energy against the Turks.
Mhm.
Everything is so much the same. We have so many things going on that it's really necessary to know history on a very much deeper level than we're told about. We're
Agreed.
told about nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and only from our point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this Oscar Wilde, I think he's truly, I would have loved to have known that man.
Mm.
What a flair level. Every morning, one of the criteria we have is
Mhm.
you step on your flareometer,
Mm-hmm.
forget how much you weigh,
Mm-hmm.
step on your flareometer and say, today I will be 100 on my flare, and you go out to the world and you say, yep, today I am 100% flare, and I will be a god out there. I will
Yes.
entertain my fellow humans.
Yeah.
And for really, what do we think we're doing? I'm so happy to be talking to you
Yes.
and screeching along like a crazy man,
Hardly.
really, because it's fun to do.
Mhm.
And today I must have stepped on the flareometer,
Mm-hmm.
and it maybe it went up to 99. Who knows? Like the pitchers now pitch 100-mile-an-hour balls, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Incredible, huh?
It is.
My goodness, how good I used to be at that sport.
Now, you've often told me, I hope we're not discussing a tale that should be reserved for another time, but I'm always fascinated that to a degree, one of the moments for you in your life with the piano is intimately connected with returning from the sandlot after playing playing ball.
Most important moment in my life. I mean, I'm I paint, I this, I read, I go to school, I scream at everything. I'm, you know, the same horrible person. And my mother, somehow her voice reached me, and it was still a suburbia that had sandlots, places that these horrible homes were not, you know, any home. I'm against any building. I don't want to see another home in the world built. I just want to see the ground. I want to see the tree. We have enough people to house, you know, everyone. Or send them to Mars, you know, with Elon Musk or something, but get rid of them if necessary, because I want those trees. So, so what was I talking about?
Well, I'm talking about that moment that always resounds for me in remembering your maybe not absolute beginning with the piano.
Yeah, so here we had a wonderful long, a big sandlot, and played baseball until in Cleveland about 9:30 at night. That's when the dark came.
Yes.
Comes here earlier. And in Cleveland, and so I was playing doubtless with my brother and friends, you know, approximately all the same age, and we really took that game seriously, and we were all good. Those were games, actually, you could watch them. And that's all I can say is that I hear my mother's voice, oh God, what does she want, right? I'm in the middle of a game, I'm going to hit another home run. And so what happens is I leave, it's getting dark, and my mother's is there, my father's there. I don't know if my brother had come in or not. He was probably with me, didn't. And she introduces me to a pianist from Juilliard, James Stream, Streem. You know, I'm 13 years old or 12, you know, and he's about 7 or 8 years older, and very good looking guy, and he's the son of good friends of my mother, Jerry Stream, and her husband. And Jim Stream, I don't know anything about him. He's a pianist, and he goes to Juilliard, and it's about late August, and he's going to go back. And Juilliard, I didn't know anything about Juilliard, didn't know that I would teach there for 34 years. And so he says, I'm here to sell tickets to my recital in Cleveland coming up, and he tells me that he knows Joe Tipton and Lou Boudreau, two great Cleveland Indians of that age.
Okay.
And they were going to come. Wow, that, if I didn't, care for the music, I would love to see, my idols in the Cleveland Indians. Now called Guardians.
Oh,
what
okay.
a joke.
Yes.
Oh God, we don't want to play the game at all, do we?
No.
No fun anymore. So he sits down at my little spinet piano. Nothing. I don't even. They don't even think I'm good enough to play on a grand, or maybe we're too poor. I don't know.
Okay.
So he sits down. He plays the Winter Wind Etude to Chopin. That could have been used in the Dorian Gray, even.
Yes.
It has that little demonic glitter up there. And he's just so, let me hear you play, and I play some transcriptions of, that the teacher gives me of the Grieg Concerto, which looks flashy, but he said, don't you play any Bach, the bread and butter of music? No, I don't know anything about Bach. I mean, I'm really illiterate. My parents don't know. They don't care. I have piano lessons only because probably the girl next door had them, or who knows. So he says, "Oh, you play wonderfully." And he said, "But he says you play expressively, but." And then I did the E minor concerto in the same edition, where the beautiful tune was easy, and so he heard something expressive, And I said, and he said, but you don't have enough technique at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't understand what technique is. I thought, what is that? Is that show business or, you know? I don't know. I would find out, and he says, please, I have to go back to Juilliard, please come to my recital, you know, and I would like you to study with a much better teacher than you are, because I think that she will take you and I will, you know, lead you to her, which he did. It's a great story on its own. This was a lady whose husband studied with Liszt in Weimar. Think of it.
Whose husband said, wow.
Francis Courtorier. He was 26 years older when they got married, and she was 82 or 4 when I got to her. Think of it.
Wow.
6 foot at least. And what a teacher. Without her, there'd be no technique or anything.
What did she begin to give you that technique?
I was so scared of her. I wouldn't have listened to anyone else. I wanted to play, you know, Polonaise or Chopin, something good.
Yes.
Something fun, something that would impress people.
Yes.
Nope. Isidore Philippe scales. Every week I'd have to play with the metronome. Oh my God, the octave etudes by Czerny, Opus 740, all of them. All the Bach inventions, the early Beethoven sonatas. Never am I getting anything, you know. Is she going to give me Chopin? It would be the C minor Polonaise, one of the, you know, pieces that are non-flashy and, you know, as someone called it, the downfall of Poland.
Okay.
He's like a dirge.
Okay.
And so, why did I stay with her? I made a great mistake in leaving her for the very same reason. About 2.5 years later, yes, of course, she was very old. She's had all of the good students of Ohio come to her weekly. She was a very well-known teacher. She had nothing to do with the Cleveland Institute. She was a private teacher. You went into a mansion. There were 2 pianos. It was a mansion, actually. And she had come from a very wealthy family, the Bolton family of Cleveland, Frances Bolton Courtorier. And Madame Courtorier, called her Madam. And you would wait for her in her outer room, in an out ante room, where she had a wonderful bookcase that was locked. Wouldn't let anyone like me get to it. And this is where my mouth watered when I saw the biography by Honecker of Chopin. I wanted to break the you know, and read it, because by that time I'm starting to really read through her seriousness. Really, I didn't understand she's a horrifying German pedant.
Oh,
I mean, that's exactly what I needed. And finally, I couldn't stand it anymore, and I said, I've got to go, in my mind, to a teacher who's going to give me a concerto or something that, you know, I could show off with.
Yes. I don't know why I'm moved to ask this. When you sat in the room that was outside of the room in which she gave lessons, could you hear the other lessons going on? No. Because
there was a door I think she closed, and the living room was alone with 1 piano and 1 lithographic, whatever it was, of Beethoven, nothing else. Nothing else in it. Everything about her was eccentric. She learned how to drive at 80, took a trip all through Canada on her own. She had 1 major student, Eunice Podis, and Jim Stream studied with her a while in Cleveland on his vacations, and then would go back to Juilliard and so forth.
Do you remember telling her that you were going to part from her?
Yes, I remember that very, very undistinctly, because it was so hard.
I see.
I don't remember how I did it exactly. Okay. It was just as bad as the first teacher, who drove me home, who I was her best student, and she was a childless woman, and she really adored me, Miss Fisher. Now dead, I think she never again wanted to hear from me, because I really did as if I jilted a woman.
I understand. And she was the woman who had given you the small
The
statues.
little statues, yes,
of the composers.
of the composers, which I had like 20 of them.
Yes.
I'd get the grades,
Yeah.
O for outstanding or whatever, excellent, whatever, and I wanted those little statues so much,
Yes.
and I had them all in a little
Mhm.
row up on
Mm-hmm.
in a little bookshelf where my mother had the book of the month crap, delivered or something. I don't know that she ever read anything.
Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wonderful woman. I mean, don't get me wrong. She gave me that piano,
Mhm.
and I dedicated on one fine day. My mother and father my parents got me a piano. One
Yes.
fine day.
I remember that.
What would I be without the piano?
Yes.
I mean, it's as one psychologist said to me,
Mm-hmm.
people will come and go,
Yes.
but never your piano.
That's true. This leads me to another movie question.
Right,
for you.
we're you think that our fans are following us? There's so much we're talking about that's important, every one of these
I
things.
think so. So, David, may I ask or put your mind to this other question that was posed to me by the movies again? There's a movie with Gene Simmons. I don't know if I have the title correctly, and it probably it's a mistake for me to invoke something for our discussion without being sure, but it might be called Babyface. And
Yes, I is that a Western?
it's not a Western, no. It's where she is a young woman and she ultimately would like to murder her stepmother.
I don't know what I think.
Anyway, the point I was going to make is every time she executes one of her plans or parts of her plans, we see her turning to the piano as if there's something about playing that allows us to ask, is she masking her conscience or is she revealing it through her playing to all those who are listening? Is it really a confession? So maybe we should defer that until you see the movie. But
Okay,
Robert Mitchum is the principal.
love him.
Yes,
Love that thing there,
and he figures her out in the end.
baby face.
I think I have the title correct, but
Uh-huh.
maybe we'll defer that. But in the event that you see it or that we think about it, the piano is also used sometimes for the sinister as a means of either masking their intentions, though they are professing them, by all the time turning to it when their schemes are put into play. Anyway, I've never seen a movie where that is shown so literally, that every time she sits down, we know that something is occurring that she's put into motion.
Do you know that I once made a film that never went? We couldn't get the money to get the
You've spoken
rights.
of
I
this.
think
Yes,
I told you.
yes.
Hollywood
Mhm.
loves the piano,
Yeah.
and there are things in it that really show the piano as in the life of a student, in the
Mhm.
life of a lover, in the life of rivalry, like
Mhm.
Betty Davis and that great Mary Astor or something, and
Mm-hmm.
when she played the Tchaikovsky concerto, and someone told me that Mary Astor played the Tchaikovsky herself in
Oh
this.
yes, which film is that? In
I
which that
can't
happens?
remember. We could find it
Yes,
easily
okay.
because it's important. So many things have been used around the piano, and I've also noticed that they're now seeping in to my nemesis called the TV commercial.
Mm.
I must have seen 5 different pianos last week in commercials that I had.
And what role is the piano playing in these modern commercials?
Just there, they're
It's
there.
present.
Different sizes, and they're there. I don't know why. As I told you, it's some psychological thing that the whole world seems to bond with the piano.
Well, I noticed also in the 1945 film of the Oscar Wilde, The Portrait of Dorian Gray, that, of course, he conceals the portrait in his childhood schoolroom. And I noticed how carefully the set had been decorated with the artifacts of his childhood. And they make it clear that as he rejects his honorable behavior, including a very, very carefully blocked scene where he knocks over with his foot a toy soldier to intimate that his sensibilities are no longer in any way playing fair, to say the least, or playing by any rules. There's also a derelict piano of an age that way precedes the Victorian setting
Mm-hmm.
in which the movie is placed. And
So interesting.
it's so carefully done to suggest, again, I think the theme that the aesthete who's playing Chopin and abusing its power into a narrative sense when it's really an exalted abstract thing, he's also abandoned what he's taught, because there are Latin incantations on the chalkboard, and again, there's this very derelict, abused, unrepaired piano sitting there, as if the best of what the piano stands for he no longer upholds.
Well, we've talked about deception. We've talked about
Yes.
quite a few
A lot
little
of few
things
films, yeah.
in films that I think are very interesting and usually have real social meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now let's ask about what have you been doing this week? Have you been reading anything? Have you been working on journals? You finished your article on tattoos, and
Yes.
you read it to me. And
Mhm.
now, if anyone wants to know, tell us how to get it published, I would like to know.
I'm going to make the rounds with that. I did pare it down a little bit. I don't know how you felt when you heard it, but I felt it could do with 2 paragraphs being removed.
Oh, well,
I did that this week. And then, as I told you, I only feel I can save the old material by starting something new. And the Ivesian devotion to being indifferent to the performance of one's works, I guess. So I have already started to assemble the materials for a new essay. So that, yes, I always am working on the journal, but now I'm in a point of where I'm harvesting old entries and collating them so that they become the stars on the ground that you arrange into a galaxy that will form an essay.
it sounds wonderful.
Oh, thank you. It may sound better than it is, but that's how I spend my time. And I get a lot of journal entries every time Halloween rolls around. It's infinitely fascinating to me and a beautiful time. And we had a particularly beautiful...
You did get something, huh?
Yes.
Okay, well, why don't you tell us about this Halloween story? And
Oh,
then,
do you mean what I experienced this week?
yeah. Oh, no, that doesn't matter when. I mean,
Oh, well, I have so much material about Halloween. I think I've even read you past essays
Yes,
about jack-o'-lanterns and other aspects of childhood.
you even sent me or had me read one by Bradbury.
Oh, Tricks, Treats, Gangway.
Wonderful.
I would say in terms of American short prose, that really ranks in terms of boyhood holiday recollections. And I don't mean that to render it into something just mawkish and simple when I say holiday recollections.
Let's tell everyone what that is, right?
Real and fabled high literature in terms of a boy's perceptions, then elevated, is the short piece called Tricks, Treats, Gangway of Ray Bradbury. Beautiful.
Say it again.
Tricks, Treats, Gangway.
I read it and it was so evocative, and
It
I know
is.
that it inspired you. And since Halloween was yesterday,
It was, yes.
and I gave nothing to anyone.
Do you ever have children come to the door in a building such as
No,
this?
you see, in this building, I think that there's a history of those that do and those that don't, and I guess I'm on a list that's.
But see, that
And
fuel-
here it is. I had little bars ready to go.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
See, but that fuels even into the lore. Even to take that is a point of pride. To become one of the houses that a child says, oh no, we don't go there. That has its role.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, in Cleveland, you didn't say trick or treat. You said, "My name's Jimmy. I'll take what you gimme."
I didn't, and I had not heard this.
Yeah.
And did you carry pillowcases for sacks?
Yes, and I would put them in a drawer next to me. I couldn't wait to get it home. I mean, I took Halloween so seriously.
Yes.
I worked so hard on every house.
Mm-hmm.
And my name's Jimmy. I'll take what you give me. And I was always dressed up in a different thing.
Okay, do you remember some of those?
Oh yes, definitely. This one is actually quite transgender. My mother
Yes.
dressed me up as Carmen.
Okay.
I guess maybe I was listening to Carmen, and
Yes.
I loved the recording of the Habanera by Risa Stevens.
Okay.
And maybe at that age, I was about 9 or something.
Yes.
I was listening to that on 78s, and so I was Carmen. I remember I had the lipstick on. I had no problems with any of that. I went out. Nobody seemed to care that and I didn't say I'm Carmen. I just my name's Jimmy. I'll take what you give me.
And do you remember, as my parents do at that time, getting things that were unwrapped? Meaning they'll talk about handfuls of popcorn thrown in a bag.
It was all those
Yeah.
little I would have those orange and little things. We never thought of the germs. I
Yeah.
just threw them all into a huge
Yes.
drawer next to my with a lamp that I liked.
Yes.
I always had things I liked, and
Mm-hmm.
here it was inside a desk, not a desk, like a whatever. And I would come home and my God, it lasted a year. It lasted.
Oh, you mean
a
the
year.
supply of the candy?
All the supply of candy
Yeah.
of every type,
Wow.
and people were very generous with them,
Yes.
and very much. The products were very, very different.
Yes.
Sometimes they were little toys.
Yes. Were Halloweens, in your memory, cold nights or warm?
Cold in Cleveland.
Okay.
Could be cold, yes.
Mhm.
But it could be, still so not like Cleveland would be by the mid-November, starting to move towards the very cold,
Mm-hmm.
and would remain that you could have snow easily by 5 out of 6 Thanksgivings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Halloween has always meant a lot to me in terms of nature, a tremendous synthesis of so many American things.
Well, it's one of the great pagan
Yes, it is.
things left.
Yes, it is, yeah. And the idea of ascending the steps of our neighbors, there's nothing quite like going up, having permission to ascend steps that normally we would not have cause to ever touch.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
Jack. It's a state of nostalgia that's just barely holding on.
To such a degree, I will confess, to say what I did last Halloween. I had a friend who needed to escape some melancholy, and I proposed, though we are adults, to go trick-or-treating, and we did that.
Oh, fabulous!
And we put masks on, and she was of small enough stature, though she's an adult, that she passed for a child in a mask. So I looked like someone ushering their child.
Yes, yes.
And what was remarkable was to ascend again porches that I've not been on in 50 years, and to feel the aesthetic memory that we still have, almost like the feel of distinct pianos that we maybe play only once in our lives, but we remember the way the piece could be executed because of the action of that piano. Maybe of a specific C that we reach down for that'll have a resonance because of the resistance of that. Certain porch boards resounded again for me that I have not placed my foot upon them in 50 years. And what I've noticed that has changed a little bit, and yet I was moved by it. Though there are still people who will open their doors, and there's still houses that are dark and people just won't come or they're not there, and that's just a mystery, you don't know. People also now have taken to the habit, and that was in the case of my childhood too, but we found a lot to be active last night, of people who would simply put out a bowl on their porch because they were not there. And to me, that was actually kind of an elevating thing because it made one feel like a spirit in the sense that usually offerings are made to the spirits, that even those who have faith in the spirits to whom they are pledging their little offering on a mantle or something, we imagine that they maybe, no matter how much faith they have, there's a little bit of figurative faith in that. They never really think that they'll come the next morning and find the offering vanished. But I felt I got a chance to be the spirit who would make that offering vanish by taking a handful out of those bowls on these dark porches. And it was gloriously cold last night. The kind of cold that makes the inside of the mask feel a little bit damp, so that when you take it up you feel refreshed by the purity of the air. At the same time, there's nothing quite like the only time that we conceal ourselves is Halloween, where I don't feel it's a concealment, it's somehow joining the landscape, and that you're bringing the landscape. And the other thing I think is glorious about it is it occurs in concert with the time of political campaigns, so that while everyone's canvassing the neighborhood to leave you with information about them, children are encouraged to do the opposite, to conceal themselves and come and ask for an offering. And in the concealment, I don't think, a lot of people will say it seems like you're teaching a child, and they're just joking when they say this, to mimic begging but it's not really what's happening. I think it's a glorious notion of putting on a mask that suggests you have joined the landscape. So it's the ultimate kind of gerrymandering. So the false thing that's going on is all of this political campaigning, saying what can be done and what should be done in these different districts. But a child comes up masked as if they are the very leaves that hide trees, and gerrymanders the whole landscape and brings it up to the porch and asks for an offering in exchange for this almost quasi beautifully civil religious moment. I love trick-or-treating, and to have done it last night was a glorious thing to return to.
Wonderful, my God. Yes, it's those that I would never miss one.
Yeah.
But I can't see myself going in a building here on West End Avenue.
Well, maybe next year you can join me out in the trees.
God willing.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite wonderful, you know, to end our show today. No art, no life, and there's a lot of art out there, you know.
There is.
On the streets, on the side streets, those skeletons, those pumpkins.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We've talked about you're writing a wonderful essay on it, and the Bradbury,
Trick Streets Gang Way, which was a simple piece. I think he contributed to Reader's Digest.
Yes, I mean,
I think
copy that you gave me was Reader's Digest. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No excerpt, it was all there.
It was all there, very tight. There's not a wasted word. And yet the profundity of the conclusion, I won't give it away here, as profound as anything that one can find in Aristotle, in my opinion.
My goodness, your opinion counts to
Well,
me.
thank you.
Jack Cole is with me. I am with him, David Duval. This is No Art, No Life. We believe in that.
Mm.
We believe that the more creative you will be, the better for the world. Forget your personal happiness. There's no such thing as happiness. That's another. The
Yes.
happiness is in the creation, the
Yes.
action, the doing. No judgments. Get a piece of paper. Get up in the morning. Listen to your Scarlatti Sonata.
Mm-hmm.
Sit alone with those 4 minutes. They're all 4 minutes approximately, and then get up, do a drawing, or write something in your autobiography.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
People should start writing their autobiography. Now, we're not even charging you for all of these fantastic ideas that we're giving you.
That's true.
Not a penny. So if you want to donate, is there a way of donating?
Well, I don't know about that. I think at a certain point we simply just need to have enough people watching.
Please tell everyone to watch No Art, No Life. And write those words down. And remember, this is what, 22nd or 23rd of
I
our
believe it's our 23rd.
our 23rd version, of which I think probably we've had, because I never have any problem in, you know, extolling myself. We probably have had more ideas floating out
Mm-hmm.
than anyone could really just get. So it's important to hear all of these shows 5 or 6 times, like reading a book twice, because I know that everything I have ever had has come from hearing it again,
Yes.
Oh, you mean that? And there's the wonderful revelation.
Agreed.
Wagner didn't know anything about Bach in his mind except that he knew him.
Yes.
He knew him well. And then he heard Liszt play the C-sharp minor prelude and fugue
Mm-hmm.
of the Well-Tempered Clavier, and he said, I knew nothing about anything except that this was a revelation.
Yes.
I don't think that maybe we're good enough to be a revelation, but maybe we are.
David,
Jack, fantastic being with you always.
feel the same. Thank you, David.
Bye.